So get ready to go to Missouri. Big, strong, physical team. They play really well at home. Kobe Brown is a terrific player, an Alabama kid that that we recruited and got to know his family really well. Really happy for Kobe and his success at Missouri. Conzo's teams always play very hard and very physically. And you look at most of their stat numbers; they're right there in the middle of our league. 7 out of their last 9 opponents have been in the top 25. They may not be there now, but they played a really tough schedule. And so Auburn coming in, obviously, they're not going to be intimidated by us. They've played us well there. I think I've been over there 6 times, and we've split. Tough place to play. The Antlers kind of get after you, and I'm sure that Missouri will be excited playing us. The number 1 ranking matters because it's historical, and so I'm very happy for Auburn. I'm very happy for my coaches and our players to have been able to achieve that. That said, we got a lot of work to do. There's reasons why we're down double digits at home to Kentucky, or on 3 different occasions being down double digits on the road. The last time we were on the road, we were at Missouri, and we're down, pretty good. So there are reasons for that, because we got a lot of things that we need to work on to get better. And so, questions?
Our coach, we start with a question from Jordan Hill.
Bruce, with this Missouri team, they beat Alabama once and gave them trouble the other day, played really well with Texas A&M. What is it that makes them so competitive that gives other teams problems?
Yeah, they run some really solid offensive sets, and they do a great job within the framework of those sets, adjusting to how you guard them. And so we do when it comes to our ball screen offense, but we run a lot of different things. They run some things, they run them really well. And so it kind of doesn't matter how you guard them, because they got really good adjustments. They're big. They got big guards, big physical guards. They don't mind switching. They don't mind, getting mismatches. They do a great job with mismatches when you switch them. And it's it was an NCAA tournament team a year ago. Program with great history and tradition.
All right, next is Kiri Yosef.
Hey, Coach. First off, I hope you've laid the groundwork for Jungle City. Excited to see that happen. And secondly, this is now your 3rd program to lead to a number 1 ranking. And I want to know, what is it about this unique group that has stood out from these other teams that you have led to the same kind of historic notion?
Well, I don't know that I could draw differences between the other teams. And so I can't really answer that. But what I could tell you I like most about this team is how much they enjoy playing with each other, and how close they are on and off the court. Now, we haven't faced much adversity. So adversity reveals character. It doesn't just build it. And so when we get some adversity and we get some losses, then we'll see how those friendships will be challenged and how you can tap into them. But I think that's the thing I like most about this team, is this team enjoys playing together with each other. And I think they trust each other as much as any team I've coached.
Brian Stoltz.
Bruce, John Calipari said earlier today that he wanted to see the NCAA try to ban those kind of screens that Walker set on Wheeler. I think it's the second time Wheeler's been kind of knocked a little bit hard. What's your comments on that? And do you see that there needs to be any change for that kind of screens that seem to be legal?
I'd just rather talk about Missouri and Auburn, and I'm not, if you don't mind.
That's fine. I understand.
Thanks for understanding.
We'll go to Ryan Hennessy next.
Coach, the atmosphere that you saw on Saturday was unmatched, and people camping outside. And you said this isn't just a basketball school; this is everything school. How do you keep that success? Is that the goal now? Not to just have this be a fluke year, keep it successful, and have Auburn basketball be something that people see every year?
Well, I mean, I think part of the thing that I'm most pleased with is that over the last this has been over the last 5 years. Now, I don't know what next year is going to bring. I can tell you I'm not focused on that. History tends to repeat itself, and hopefully if you do a good job with the kids that you got, then more kids can see their success and want to be a part of it. All right. But this has been, we won an SEC regular season championship, I think 4 seasons ago. And we like to keep track of our record over the last 5 years because we've been good over the last 5 years. Maybe last year was a 500 season. So the culture of your locker room, the character of your players, this is the same this coaching staff's been together. And I can't overemphasize how important that is. How many coaching staffs, when you talk about my 3 top assistants and my director of basketball operations and my assistant director of basketball operations, all right, my director of player development, have been together for 4 or 5 years. There's a lot to be said for that continuity. That's why our player development's so good. And my strength coach and my trainer. Only one I can't keep happy is my sports information director. Cody bounced on me. But now we got Marlene, and she's an all-star.
We'll go to Ben Durando next.
Yeah, Bruce, before the Alabama game, you said that there wasn't exactly a ton that you could learn about Alabama from the film of that game against Mizzou, just because it was a bit of an anomaly and Mizzou was making shots that they might not usually make. Is there a lot that you can learn from that game about Mizzou with sort of them playing at their best in that one?
Yeah, Missouri plays really, really well at home. They score 73 points a game at home. They just, that's not unusual. We do as well. Alabama guards differently than we do, and so I think maybe if, what I would do is I would look at teams that are built a little bit more like us, and look at those, matchups, look at the things that bothered Missouri. They've only really been bothered on a couple of occasions, Arkansas, maybe Kansas. Now those are 2 really talented athletic teams. But my goodness gracious, they had Texas A&M beat. They led the entire game at home against Texas A&M about 2 weeks ago, and just in the last couple minutes lost that lead. So, I will say this, that our focus has got to go out there to defend and rebound, and because they're going to do that to us.
Justin Ferguson.
Bruce, you mentioned it in the opening statement. You guys are down by 10 to Kentucky. You've been down double digits several times this year and came back and won. What is it about this team that makes them so good at coming back and not getting too low when they fall behind by a deficit like that?
I think you've got, again, part of it is everybody's going to be excited about playing us because of the number, because the prize in our head. If we're a net 6 or a net 5 or whatever we are, or now ranked as highly as we are, these are the kind of, hey, 40 minutes and we can feel pretty good about ourselves. And it's going to really jump our chance of getting in the tournament. Teams that are on the bubble can get off the bubble. Teams that are, 11 seeds can become a 9 seed with a win like this. And so that elevates the level of the opponent's play. You saw it at Missouri. You saw it at St. Louis. At Ole Miss. You saw it at St. Louis. And yet we're able to withstand the storm for a couple of reasons. One, our guys have got some confidence in each other, and 2, our depth. That I don't know that I think our front line would be the best example I could give you. That there have been times when when Dylan Cardwell didn't play great, Walker was tremendous, and there was times when Walker got in foul trouble, and Dylan was amazing. And when Jabari's gotten in foul trouble, Jalen Williams has been incredible. I mean, that's been our key, and not many teams have that depth. Now I've always said that I've always believed in developing your bench. You know, people can say, well, they've got 10 or 11 good players. You're damn right we do. But does that mean you don't have 10? That means you don't have 10 or 11 good players either. You mean those other 3 or 4 guys that you never play stink? I got 5 or 6 guys that are better than, you know, than maybe 5 or 6 other guys. But developing your bench, I think, is important, and it's been part of our culture, and it helps keep our locker room in a better place.
Justin Lee.
Hey, Bruce, one #1 team has lost up at Missouri this year, and that was Don Staley, and the South Carolina women's team got tripped up there. And I know you're playing a completely different team, but I wanted to ask you about the travel. Is it a little bit more of a challenge when you have to go all the way up there? And just how do you make sure that that doesn't affect your team?
Well, there's a lot of stories to tell for that one for sure. Look, the last time I was ranked 1 at Tennessee. We had beaten Memphis in a 1-2 game. We got home late Saturday night because it was a late night game, and had to leave Monday for Vanderbilt, and lost to a really good Vanderbilt team at Vanderbilt. And so didn't last very long. And so we won't be any celebrating. But I'm gonna tell my team that story about the fact that it didn't last very long. And you got Missouri that's kind of not on the bubble yet, but you win here, then all of a sudden they're on the bubble. You got Oklahoma coming in on Saturday. They are a bubble team. And so anyways, you just tell the kid, you keep it 100, you keep it real. You tell them these stories so they understand what can happen. And you hope that success won't change them. So far it hasn't.
Next is New Bias Wilborn.
Hey, Bruce, you mentioned earlier developing the bench. How do you guys go about that? Also, what was the coolest text or phone call you've gotten since Saturday and today when you get the #1 ranking?
Well, there's a lot there. When Stretch is the biggest fan of Walker and Dillon's, because he is a man of character. He didn't come to Auburn to sit on the bench, and he played every game for us last year. But we're already too deep at his position. And so he's a team leader. When Chris Moore was playing and Lior Berman playing really significant minutes. Now Lior's out right now with his foot, but Alan Flanagan comes back in. And so it takes some time from Devin Cambridge and takes a lot of time from Chris, but you'd never know it. Chris is an unbelievable leader, unbelievable important. And he is supporting our guys. He's staying right and ready. He's practicing really hard every day. Our guys see that. Not many guys. Most guys aren't built that way. They're too selfish. And so you point to that. Devin Cambridge didn't play quite as much as I wanted him to the other night against Kentucky, but literally every possession, he was in perfect place defensively. I mean, it was incredible. We pointed that out to the team and rewarded Devin, with the praise and with the recognition. Zepp only played 17 minutes in that game, but he had the #1 plus minus of any player on the team. And I'm not even sure how much he scored. I don't think he scored that much, but his plus minus was the best. So those are guys, and even though Zepp starts, didn't finish in that particular game. You point to those things, and that's what makes that's what's made us really successful. I don't know. You hear from Bo and you hear from Charles, and that's always pretty cool. You hear from your president, Dr. Cooge, that trusted me and stayed with me. Those they're all meaningful. But the only thing I'll say this: I got about 350 text messages, and I returned them all. So grateful for the support.
We got 3 more questions in the chat we'll try to get to. First is Mark Murphy.
Bruce, are there any traits or similarities with this year's team with your other number one teams you've coached?
Man, Murph, I'm 61 years old. I can't even tell you which one. I know I had one team at Tennessee that was one, that team that beat Memphis. And then my Southern Indiana, team, we won the national championship. They were all deep, and they were all close, and they all cared more about winning than themselves than anything else. So those are and look, coaches can absolutely help our team win games. We have very little to do with championships. The players win championships. And when those guys decide what they need to do and are willing to do the things that are required, the sacrifices.
All right, we'll go to Steve Moulton next.
Coach, congrats on the success this season. And I can't help but ask, with the release that Auburn put out of naming you as one of 3 head coaches all time to take 3 different institutions to number 1, Frank McGuire, John Calipari, and you. I realize the word history is in your program all over. What does it mean to you to be a part of that sentence, to be only one of 3 head coaches to do this?
Yeah, it's an absolute it's an honor, and I know I'm just grateful for the opportunity, and to have the opportunity to do this job. But for those guys that know me, I'll reflect on it in April. Right now, all of our attention is what it says, where it should be, and that's not just coach talk. It truly is. So grateful for God's blessing. Want to take full advantage of his blessing.
All right, we're going to wrap you up today with a question from Joseph Goodman.
Yeah. Hey, Bruce, I was wondering what the reaction was from elite recruits now when you go on the road and they ask about the environment that the students have created with the tent city and everything, and how that's really, impacted y'all, but also just in this environment now where a lot of the elite recruits have these decisions to make between, college basketball and maybe something else. I was hoping you could speak to that.
Yeah, and I think the decision between college basketball and something else, to me, it's a no-brainer. I think if you talk to some of those kids that played in the G League or played in the D League or played in whatever else they got, to have them talk to Jabari Smith about his experience, or talk to the guard that played for Gonzaga last year that had such a great close to his season. I don't think those guys would trade it, for a minute. They got Jabari is going to be 19 in May, and he will then be having a full-time job. That's not a lot of time to be a kid. That's not a lot of time to, have to grow up. Now, he grew up fast, but he's enjoying the process. He's also gotten better. He's gotten bigger and stronger. He's worked on his game. He will be more ready to be successful now that he's put in some of this time here and some of this work here. And I think as far as the future is concerned, those guys are the best references. So when prospects look, they'll tell you how much, Joseph, they'll tell you how much our kids appreciate going on the road to Ole Miss or going on the road to Alabama, or we go to Georgia, and seeing thousands of Auburn fans in the stands supporting them. And it's just an experience they wouldn't, pretty much trade for anything. So we'll just try to build on that if we can. And then the other thing too is guys, coming in and winning championships, but also living their own dreams and having the opportunity to get drafted or be one and done or whatever the case may be. So that's what will give us a chance to be able to continue to have success.
Talking a little trash on the field? Yeah, we get it. Trashing the state with litter? That's terrible. Keep it clean. Keep Alabama beautiful.